Good morning, everybody. To continue with our readings, Sam Adams was a man devoted to a cause. In 1765, the British Parliament imposed a tax on printed paper used by Americans, including legal documents, licenses, newspapers, and other publications, and even playing cards. The Stamp Act was viewed as an attempt by England to raise money in the colonies without the approval of colonial legislators. Though the actual cost of the Stamp Act was relatively small, this tax could open the door for more of the troublesome taxation in the future. Samuel Adams publicly opposed the law and encouraged citizens to do the same. He instigated the Stamp Act riots to intimidate potential tax agents. A few years later, when Parliament placed a tax on imported products such as glass, lead, paints, paper, and tea, Adams protested and soon had all Americans boycotting the new tax. An angry British government retaliated by sending soldiers to Boston to collect the money. Tauntings between the British and Americans were frequent. In one riotous afternoon in 1776, 5 colonists were killed. Samuel Adams dubbed the event the Boston Massacre. Though the incident was not a massacre at all, the highly volatile name promoted anti-British sentiments. One of the most famous demonstrations against the British occurred when Adams, the leader of the Sons of Liberty, a secret patriot society, encouraged the group to board British ships and dump hundreds of chests of tea into the harbor as a protest of the tax on tea, the Boston Tea Party, as it came to be known. In addition to this devotion to the independence of the colonies, Samuel Adams was also a devout Christian. William Allen, a biographer of Adams and other founding fathers, wrote of Adams' faith. Mr. Adams early approached the table of the Lord Jesus, and the purity of his life witnessed the sincerity of his profession. On the Christian Sabbath, he constantly went to the temple, and the morning and evening devotions of his family proved that his religion attended him in his seasons of retirement from the world. The last production of his pen was in favor of the Christian faith. He died in the faith of the gospel. So, my subject this morning in the wrap-up of my reading, though, is about the first $1.9 trillion stimulus and the, I believe it's $3.9 trillion infrastructure bill that they're getting ready to pass. It might be 2.9. Well, let's just say $3 trillion. So we're at $2 trillion in stimulus and $3 trillion in infrastructure that we're getting ready to be railroaded through by the stroke of a pen by an overzealous Democratic Congress. And I have one very serious question to ask you. How do we pay for that? You know, this should be a very troubling question for everybody, because I was listening to a news broadcast this morning, and there's only one news broadcast left on the planet that I know of that actually reports the news and not some propaganda. The statistics say that in order to pay back that money, taxes will have to be raised on every single citizen of the United States, not just wealthy people like some people are trying to say that's going to be raised. And that in order to pay that back, working Americans will have to work 3 days out of 5 just to pay taxes. I hope that you paid attention to what I just said. And it rings very true with me. To pay $5 trillion of money that we're spending that we don't have already. And remember that Treasury is in debt notes that somebody owns that are going to demand payment for in order for us to be able to print all that money, in order to be able to pay all this stuff. It's paid for with Americans putting money into the Treasury through taxation to be able to fund the things that we're doing. $5 trillion. You will be working 3 days out of 5 simply to pay for taxes. And that does not even include the other things that we hope we have when we retire. I'm 63. I'll be retiring soon. And I am really depending on the Social Security being there that I've been paying in for my entire working life. And no one should be telling me that I can't have my money. That's not a greed statement. That's not a selfish statement. I have been paying into Social Security since I was 13 years old when I started and got my first working card. Because when you're that young, you have to get a working card to be able to work in the United States. I've been paying that thing since I started working. I want my money. I want it back. If the United States government would like to stroke me a check for the amount of money that I've put into it over my 60 or over my 50 some years of working, I would love to have you stroke me a check so I can put it into something that's earning interest. But of course you won't do that. I want to be able to retire. I want to be able to depend on that money coming into my household every month. But if there's no one left to be able to pay into that thing, because here's the thing, it's a perpetual machine that in order for me to be able to retire, the people coming in behind me have to be able to keep funding it in order to be able to pay for my retirement, because what I'm putting into it right now pays other people's retirement. Listen, for those of you that voted for the man who's in our office right now as the POTUS, this is what you voted for. This is how socialism works. Let me clue you in on how I understand how socialism works, and I've done my research. This is what they do. They will come in. They will take control of everything by putting burdens on you that you cannot bear, that you cannot pay. They will call it the government bailout, the government saving us from all of our sins or whatever they want to call it. Pandemics, whatever. It doesn't matter what the crisis is that they are trying to put on our backs. They will do what they're doing right now. They will call it a American Relief Plan, whatever it is they're calling it. And they will pile in everything they can think of in order to make sure that the burden is unbearable on the backs of the American people. And then they will come up with this thing where they're going to say all you have to do is work and everything will be taken care of. All you have to do is work as we tell you to work and everything will be taken care of. Mark my words, that is what these people are doing. This new bill, this infrastructure bill, is going to place on you a burden you cannot take. And the way that they're going to take care of it is you will become owned by the government of the United States. Just like other socialist countries, you become a ward of the United States. They will take care of everything. They will take care of your health care. They will take care of your home, of your retirement. They will take care of where you live. They will take care of what you eat. They will take care of your clothing. They will take care of your kids. They will take care of everything. But you must get indoctrinated into their system of belief, their system of production, their system of everything that you want to do to live. And if you go against them, they will put you down and put you out of your misery. This is my fear. When I heard this morning the statistics that show how we're going to have to be burdened with what they're doing right now, I was stunned. And I kind of knew in the back of my mind that at some point they're going to do this. Here it is. 3 out of 5 days, you're going to be working to pay into the Treasury of the United States of America. You're already paying, I think, about 30%. Now you're going to be 60%. Like that, with the stroke of a pen. Here's the other thing I want to bring to mind. When you become president of the United States, if you're a good leader, you reflect on what your predecessor did that was good, And you continue those great things that president did. You might modify it, you might improve it. You certainly don't discontinue it with the stroke of a pen because you might not like the man's personality. What we're experiencing right now is a complete dismantling of great systems and policies that were put in place that made the United States once again a great country. Where before that president that just left was in office, others had completely put the United States in a defensive position rather than an offensive position where we should have been all along as the greatest free country in the world. When you take over from a previous president, you don't completely destroy everything they did. You look at policies that they put in place, you modify what they did, if it's good. If it's not good, you do take it out. If it's not good for the American people and the immigrants that are coming into our country, if it's not good for them, then you dismantle it, you redo it, you do what you got to do. But you don't destroy the working policies that the American people have found to be great and working well. What they're doing now is taking policies that were working, completely dismantling them, completely abandoning them, and putting us all in peril. Our economy is going to sink. Our jobs are going to go away. People are going to come into our country that are not going to help our country. They're going to destroy it. Policies that were working are being completely thrown out with the garbage, throwing out the baby with the bathwater, when we could have had a wonderful system going forward that maybe needed tweaking, maybe needed modifying by the balance of the debate in our country. But the fact that you're tearing everything apart is an absolute example of bad policies, bad leadership. So this is what you voted for. Wrong answer. I had expected him to at least take the good policies that had put in place and work with them to make them better, to realign what needed to, but out of spite, out of vendetta, to destroy a complete working system is unacceptable. And I just got to wonder if there's, we've got these recall votes going on in California and, and other places. I wonder if the people that voted for this president are now reconsidering what they voted for. Are you? Are you reconsidering the vote you made to put this guy in office? And if you are, what is the answer to that? Can we sustain 4 years of this? Can we even take another 6 months of this? You've got to by now be wondering to yourself after you voted for this guy, what in the world did I do? Unless you're a socialist and you want a socialist country, because that is what you voted for. Look at the facts. Look at what's happening. We just found out this morning that with $5 trillion of debt being added to us within what? In the blink of an eye. He's been in office only, 3 months? And already we got $5 trillion on our heads. Unnecessarily, I might add, that if statistics prove true, we're going to be working 3 days a week just to pay this thing off. That means that when I go to work in the morning, I'm not working for me and my family. I'm working for the United States government at their whim and call to pay off a debt that they're putting on me, my kids, and my grandkids. You will no longer be free. Freedom's gone when that happens. You're working for the government. Doesn't matter what name your company is. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter what business you own. And imagine what's going to happen next. When these companies say, wait a minute, you're making me pay 30% of my gross, or however they do it, doesn't matter how they do it, to the United States government? Let me see. Let me go ahead. I'll drag up and I'll go to, I don't know, whatever country it is that is still at least free for me to be able to do business without doing business at the beck and call of the government in which I'm residing. Because that's where these cats are taking you. I think it's pretty damn plain. It's like black and white. It's like reading a newspaper. It's black and white. Anyway, that's all I got this morning. I'm worried. I mean, what I heard this morning on the news is not propaganda. It's not conspiracy theories. It's blatant. It's right in front of your face. If you're a socialist, congratulations. You have just made the United States of America a socialist country. But be warned. I hope you have read all of your stories and all of your history about socialist countries that have come and gone. Because that's what you've just sold us into.